of a bearded dragon. And before I get started on that, I just want to say that sorry for the mix-up. To those of you who have seen my other video that said welcome to my makeup channel, I posted it on the wrong channel. So to those people that were deceived by that and want makeup videos, you can go to my other channel called Makeup Forever, and I'll link that in the description bar. Sorry about my shirt, it's kind of big, so it just like sags. So anyway, yeah, so first off, we're going to start with the feeding and nutrition of a bearded dragon. A staple diet in bearded dragons is supposed to be crickets, and this is what my crickets are in. Sorry for the reflection, but yeah, that's what my crickets are in. And I feed my crickets to my bearded dragons with thongs, but there are so many other insects besides crickets that you can feed. So I am going to make a list and I'm going to talk to you. So first, there's crickets. Crickets are a great diet for bearded dragons. And they're really high in nutrients, but you do have to gut load them. And for my cricket, any insect that you feed your bearded dragon, you have to gut load, and you want those insects that you're feeding your bearded dragon to get as much food as they can get in their system, and as much nutrients and vitamins and minerals and calcium. So when your bearded dragons eat them, yum yum yum, then your bearded dragon's gonna ingest all that good stuff and be even healthier. And thumbs up if we want our bearded dragons to be super duper healthy. Yeah, I knew that you did. Me too. Anyway, I feed my bearded dragons with this is cricket drink, and it's a type of gut load. Well, this is the drink. This is what they drink, because crickets cannot drink real water because they might drown or die in it. So yes, I feed them this cricket drink. This is by Zilla. It just says cricket drink. And I actually put the food bowls, I'll let you see, and food bowls, you can use anything. I use these just because these are my personal preference, but you can use bottle caps or a real small plate, depending on where you keep your crickets. I know where I keep my crickets. This is a critter keeper, and it's kind of small, but I figure that when I keep smaller amounts of crickets, they live longer, and it's just easier to feed them and to keep them. So yeah, so I also feed my crickets with gut load, and that's also by Zilla, and it's called Cricket and Insect Food. But also I put in vegetables, and I put in Reptical with the salad that I feed my bearded dragons has Repcal in it. And this is what Repcal looks like. And I just have a little spoon in here, so when I make the salad for my bearded dragons, I just throw in some of this, because this is calcium. It's very important for their bones. And well, obviously you guys already know about the UVB light, and this calcium helps them prevent metabolic bone disease, which is when their bones break, and that must really hurt. So anyway, yeah. So I feed my bearded dragons with the salad too. And for the salad, I just like to make a little variety, because when you make a variety, it's fun for them. And I usually do romaine lettuce, kale, carrots, and butternut squash. I cut it up into real tiny pieces. Picture right about here on the screen, so you guys can see what the salad looks like. So yeah, the salad is like that. And never feed them, you can feed them lettuce, but not iceberg lettuce. So yeah, so as I said, the crickets are a great staple diet for them, but there are also many other things, and I'm going to tell you right now. So there's crickets, which is one of the best. But dubia roaches is like, then next is dubia roaches. And some people are like, ew, gross, roaches, ew. But it's not like the kind of cockroach. It's, they actually don't jump or fly, so they're easier to feed than crickets. And you can feed less because they eat a lot, so they're the most nutritious thing that you can feed your bearded dragon. So if you can get your hands on them, I really recommend them. I can't get my hands on them because they're restricted where I live, or illegal. No, they're not illegal. They're restricted. But yeah, it's sad. So yeah. But if you do have access to dubia roaches, then I would recommend feeding your bearded dragons that and keeping the roaches. And they're basically the same thing as keeping crickets. And I will put little tips on that in the end of the video. So yeah, next is silkworms, otherwise known as phoenix worms, I think. And those are really good. I do recommend those because they have lots of nutrients, they're easy to feed, and you don't need to clean them as much as you do with crickets or dubia roaches. But they're basically one of the best foods for baby bearded dragons because they need less. So I do recommend those if you can get your hands on them. Again, I cannot get my hands on them where I live, and that's so sad. Next is waxworms. Those are very high in fat, so I don't recommend them so much. But if that's the only thing you can feed, then you should try to feed less because, I mean, fat is good for bearded dragons in a moderation, just like everything's good for us in a moderation. But yeah, so yeah, never feed mealworms. Oh, there's also something called Mario worms. I don't know about those, so I'm not going to say, but I wouldn't feed them. If you don't know about a worm, first research. So, next, mealworms you should never feed. Some people say it's okay, the baby mealworms or something like that, but they're not okay. They have a hard shell which can cause impactation in bearded dragons, especially babies. I wouldn't even feed it to adults. Some people say they're okay for adults, but I wouldn't. I'd rather have my house infested in crickets than feed my bearded dragons mealworms. Thumbs up if you agree that you should never feed a bearded dragon mealworms. Mealworms are horrible for their health, and they are just the worst thing that you can give a bearded dragon. Yeah, especially the baby ones. Too bad. Anyway, so yeah, that's what you can feed them. And with the vegetables, it's basically lots of things, but oh, and also, yeah, the vegetables, they can eat lots of things, but they can't eat chicken, beef, or any of that stuff. They can also never eat iceberg lettuce. Don't feed them anything acidic. Some people say pineapple is okay, but it's not okay. Yeah, because pineapple is acidic, so it's not okay. Also, for tips on keeping the insects, make sure you don't feed the insects dog food, and make sure the breeder that you get them from doesn't feed them dog food, because dog food is toxic to bearded dragons, so that's going to kill them real fast, because dog food contains chicken, beef, quail, and all that stuff that bearded dragons can eat. It also contains some acidic stuff. Some dog food, like Taste of the Wild, contains tomatoes. So it's basically not something that I would ever feed my crickets. And you can keep your crickets in anything you want. You can basically keep them in a bin. This was like $4.99. But you do want to provide the insect a place to hide, like the egg cartons and some bowls of food, which I already showed you that I use these. And you want to provide them the gut load. It's good to buy gut load, and the gut load that I recommend is the Flunkers gut load. That's one of the best gut loads. It's like powderish, but it's really good. And I do recommend dusting the crickets' food with Repcal 2, because they'll be ingesting that, and you want the insects to eat as much as possible, as I said in the beginning of the video, because we want our bearded dragons or any animal like leopard geckos that or any animal or any reptile that you're feeding these to. So yeah, I hope this video was really, oh, and also I forgot something. when you feed them salad, make sure that you spritz it with some water, because most bearded dragons don't drink out of water bowls, so they can dehydrate easily. So you want to hydrate them, and you want to spritz their salads with some water. I do recommend not using tap water, because tap water contains chlorine, and that's basically poisonous for bearded dragons. So please be considerate and use filtered or bottled water. Yeah, thumbs up if you agree. Yay! So I hope this video was super helpful to all of those people that are looking for the feeding and nutrition of bearded dragons. Yeah, I hope it's super helpful, and comment, rate, and subscribe, and favorite this video if it's your favorite bearded dragon feeding and nutrition video you've ever seen. Bye.